My name is Julia, for those of you that do not know me. And I am a huge fan and advocate for self expression. I believe that everyone has their own voice and that there's something very powerful and purposeful in us actually connecting with what is true for me. What is the knowledge and wisdom that I have within me that I want to share with the world? What is the experience or experiences that I have gone through in my life that give me the feeling of being an expert of my own life? Like, we all have these just like inner glorious wisdom pieces that have helped to guide us through life and can help guide other people and encourage and inspire other people. But none of this actually happens if we keep this truth to ourselves. So I've been on a bit of a journey over the last, we'll say, year or so of just learning to express myself more, learning to break out of my shell, learning to just really connect with A, what I want to say, how I want to say it, but also, why? Why is this something that I want to do? And how is this going to benefit other people? And the more that I've actually done this, gone through this journey, tapped into my own inner knowing, my own like higher wisdom, so to speak, I've just recognized how much more at peace and how much calmer and how much more like alive and fun and just like free I feel from expressing my truth, from being more honest and authentic, not just with others, but with myself as well, by honoring when I want to say something and when I want to hold on to that information. But just really being my own compass for connecting with my intuition. Is this the time to say something, or is this the time to prepare, wait, maybe I'm going to say something in a more powerful way, or maybe this is the time that this other person is going to find their own truth and they don't need my input. So that's part of the desire for me creating this video today. But essentially, I was challenged to speak 5 of my boldest truths. And I'd been creating videos for the last couple weeks, kind of off and on, just getting a little bit more edgy and authentic about what I want to say to the world, how I can express myself in a more vulnerable way, and trying to expand each time a little bit further, growing a little bit bigger each time. So this for me is, just a list of the 5 boldest truths that I could come up with. And I just wanted to share them, get them off my chest, be more open and free and expressive. So here we go. Number 1 is that in my life, I have gone through a period of seeking excitement. So we all have this desire to find more excitement in our lives, whether it's by going on a trip or going on a fun adventure with a friend or something like that. But there's a difference between finding excitement through a short-term means, and there is a difference between finding excitement through a longer delayed gratification. So a truth that is bold for me to actually express is that a lot of the times in my life, I have sought to seek this or fulfill this need for excitement through short-term gratification. So for example, drinking coffee. When I wake up in the morning and I decide to have a cup of coffee, that for me is meeting that short-term need and desire to feel more alive, feel more excitement, feel that rush of adrenaline in my life. I've also met this need through sugar or smoking weed or sometimes drinking alcohol. not as much anymore, but I guess my desire for wanting to actually call myself out on this is that I know it is not aligned for me to continue to seek excitement in this way. And I know that I have a more aligned and more driven desire to seek excitement by actually making a difference in the world, making this video, speaking my truth, doing something that is bold and edgy for me that is still going to meet that need, but in a way that actually benefits other people and isn't just me acting in fear, like, oh, I'm gonna smoke some weed because I'm afraid to actually create a video. The second bold truth that I have been sort of building over the last few years as well is that I actually do have a belief in God and in a higher power. So I feel a little bit weird saying this because I know that God can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But through all of the different like healing modalities and journeys that I've gone through, different like workshops, classes, lessons, whatever, they all sort of connect back to this higher power, something greater than myself that is actually guiding me in life, and that having faith in this higher power, in this guidance, actually creates just a greater feeling of peace in my own life, a greater feeling of purpose, a greater feeling of alignment, because I know that it's not just me. It's not about me. It's about, the greater good, the greater collective. And when I connect with and open that channel to just feel more aligned, feel more like connected with God, higher self, just feel more faith, it allows me to take bolder action, get out of my own head, and recognize that whatever the situation is that I'm feeling stressed out about or like worried about, that there's always a silver lining. There's always some kind of gift or lesson or thing to be gained from that experience, because I do have faith and because I do trust and because I know that chaos and destruction don't just happen for the sake of chaos and destruction. There's always something better, something bigger, something more loving that can be experienced on the other side of that. And by having that faith, by having that trust that there is something greater than myself, some reason greater than what I can currently see, it just allows me to stand up taller, to trust, and to continue to push myself forward even on those days that I don't always want to. Okay, so number 3 of my bold truths, this one's a little embarrassing for me, I have to say, but it's I guess that I've relied, in my own opinion, too much on my relationships to actually meet the needs that I have in my life. So say I have a need to feel connected. In the past, I've sought that connection through like my friendships or through my relationships or through something like external to myself. And the more that I've done this in my life, the more that I've recognized that I'm actually just putting a strain on these relationships. I'm just like putting too much pressure on this other person to meet my needs, rather than turning inward and asking myself, okay, what do I actually need in this moment? And is there a different way for this need to be met? If I'm looking for connection, like maybe it's because I'm not being as bold and authentic as I can. And I can do that with everyone that I talk to. It's not just one person or one relationship that I need to depend on or rely on to actually fulfill that within me. Yeah, and I've actually had like a lot of guilt and shame around this in my life, just because I can see how it's not the best avenue for me to meet those needs, and I can see that it is actually putting strain like on certain people. But it's just that unconscious programming. Like, it's not something that I consciously was doing or even aware that I was doing in some cases. It's just that, oh, I have this need for a connection, and this person doesn't seem like they're doing anything. Like, I'm going to see if they're free. But at the same time, I was actually limiting my own ability to go deeper, my own ability to be more myself, because I was only relying on that one relationship or like couple of relationships that I felt the most comfortable in. So by actually expanding my comfort zone and seeking to feel more authentic and aligned and vulnerable with like complete strangers, then at that point I was able to just take that stress away from like those relationships and just show up more as myself. Um, yeah, and just like be happier with who I am overall. Number four is a little bit, these two kind of go together, but I guess it's just sort of admitting to myself, again, the underlying like unconscious programming of what I've done to validate myself and the ways that I've sought to meet this need for like attention or affection in the past. So again, this is a little bit embarrassing for me because it's not something that I'm just like, oh, this is me, whatever. But that I do recognize that I've had this underlying like victim mentality sort of programming that has caused me to behave in certain ways to actually get attention. And I recognize that this is something that I probably gained from like when I was younger, just wanting to um, build again those like that depth in my relationships, but not always knowing how to actually do that. So what I discovered from like when I was younger and the programming that I had was that if I'm in distress, then other people will come in and either like try to rescue me or try to help me out in some way. But essentially, that by me being in distress, I could get attention from other people. Um, Obviously, this isn't the program that I want to be running and operating under. Um, I've also like very much valued independence and strength in my own life. So it took me a while to actually pick up on the fact that this program was also running, because I'm like, oh, I'm like a strong independent woman. Of course, I'm just like doing my own thing. Like, I'm not seeking validation and like attention in this way. But it was like my ego was sort of blocking me from actually seeing that. And so again, was kind of putting pressure on these like external relationships rather than focusing more on the power that I actually have to create the reality that I want in life, to trust that by focusing on what I want and telling myself that I can have what I want, I don't need that help from other people. Not that I'm never going to need that help, but that it's not a necessary part of my growth and development and me achieving my goals and finding out and accomplishing what I want in life. And in my life, I have created a number of situations that required me to, I mean, I guess it just sort of brought out like a feeling of sadness or like pain, which would then lead to me wanting to connect with someone else. So it was almost like seeking that connection through pain. That was kind of the underlying program that I was running under, rather than acknowledging the fact that I can actually just connect with people from a place of like excitement or celebration or like love, or like, hey, I just accomplished this really cool thing. Can I share that with you? It just, that program hadn't been what's that word, reinforced quite as much, and didn't receive the same attention quite as much as I'm in pain, I need help, someone come give me love and attention. So that's what I'm working on shifting right now. Yeah, so I just wanted to call that out. Okay, so number 5 of my boldest truths is that people pleasing is actually making us sick. So I've done a significant amount of research on this, and even just from my own experiences in my own life, I can now check in with my own intuition, my own body enough that I can tell when I'm doing something for me and when I'm doing it for someone else. And this is important because when I'm doing something for me, and I can say like that doing it for me is also doing it for the greater good, because if I'm harming myself, then I'm not like, how can I explain this? If I'm doing something to make someone else happy and it's not aligned for me, then I'm not fully meeting their needs. I'm not fully meeting my own needs. And I'm lowering my vibration, and I'm like lowering the value that I have by telling myself that, you know, my boss or like my parent or my friend, like this person isn't going to approve of me if I don't do what they say. And so I'm sending the message that my needs aren't important, what I feel isn't important, and I just kind of like shove all of that down so that whatever emotions I was feeling never fully get released. Whatever experiences I was having never fully get to come out, and so they just get trapped in my body. And this is when disease happens, this is when sickness happens, this is when we just start to like create pain and suffering in our own lives. And I truly believe that the more we can begin to tap into what is true for me, what is the knowledge and wisdom and experiences that I have, what is that truth that is my truth, what is the thing that my body is trying to tell me that will bring me to a more aligned place in life, that the more I can act in accordance with that, the more benefit and love I can bring to other people. Because if I'm not fully showing up as I am and as I see myself, then I can't fully show up for other people as well. If I think that, I don't know, if I go into work and I have to wear like a certain uniform and I really hate wearing that uniform and I feel like embarrassed to be wearing it, and I feel like it's inauthentic and like it's not myself, then all of those messages, all of that programming is being put into my body, and I'm not fully showing up in the way that I could. I'm not fully allowing my light to shine in the way that it could. And if I were to act in a way that is more aligned with my own values, my own intentions, then I'll just be much more likely to be happy, to be excited to go to work, to know that I can be who I want, I can say who I want, and not that I'm going to do anything specifically like offensive, but that I give myself permission to be myself, and that I know that I'm going to love myself anyway. That I don't need this external validation, I don't need this external love to know that what I have to offer and that what I am is the most precious, most beautiful thing that could possibly exist. So yeah, okay, so these are the 5 boldest truths that I could think of to express to the world. And I'm also just feeling very like passionate about helping other people to break into and create this like transformation for themselves, whether it's to just be more expressive, to be more like alive, bold, to really just focus on what it is that we actually want to create in life rather than allowing that underlying programming to just run the show, to take over, to create all these stories and tell us all these things, to distract us. This is our ego distracting us from what we actually want in life, what we desire to create, and to put energy into that thing. So I have a program coming up that is going to help people commit to this transformation of letting go of those ego stories, letting go of everything that is holding you back, and stepping into this new, like, bolder, more authentic, more loving version of ourselves. So the program that I have is called the Metamorphosis, and it is going to be a 6-week program designed to align you with your inner truth, your true potential, your inner warrior and wisdom keeper. And if this is something that you would love to get more connected with, feel more aligned with, and to live from that place on a more regular basis, then I would love to hear from you. So send me a message in the comments down below and let me know why you want to become more connected with your inner truth, why you want to live from your authentic self more often. And yeah, just let me know why you want that and how that is going to transform your life. All right, that is my 5 bold truths. Thank you for checking in. If you have any questions or comments, I look forward to reading them. Again, my name is Julia, and I really appreciate the just willingness to watch this video. I hope that you found something inspiring from it and that you perhaps feel intrigued to speak one of your own bold and authentic, vulnerable truths. All right, thank you very much, beautiful people. I love you all, and I hope you have a fantastic day ahead of you.